Very, very happy Sunday to everybody. Thanks for joining and thanks for patiently waiting. Myself, Desika Prabhakar, and as always, Iyakkai Thunai with Nature's Blessings. We are going to go for the second insight session of the first edition of Act for Purpose and the Purpose Foundation. So, as I said, myself, Desika Prabhakar, founder and director of the Purpose Foundation, and we have Lakshmi, our COO. So, today we will be starting off the second insight session with Team Buildstream. So, Buildstream, we are going to ask you a couple of questions, and then we are going to structure the way forward. So, this is how it works. So, Amay, if you can unmute and start, Amay or whoever is your teammate, you guys can answer. So, the first question is, what is the current status of your project? Like, have you built it or are you still in the idea stage? What is the current status of your project?
Currently, we're in idea stage.
You're in idea stage.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me one line explanation of the particular problem and particular statement as of this stage? Like after going through the sessions, after the trainings, like what is the very accurate statement that you have picked up?
You mean the problem statement or you want the solution?
Problem and your solution, just like a one line, very direct thing, if you can.
The problem is the pollution, soil, air, land, water that comes from construction.
Yes. Construction, yes, okay.
Okay.
And your solution?
And the solution for it, so it's like a partial solution. For now, we're looking at detection. So we're using drone and technology to detect the air, waste, noise pollution along with erosion control. And the solution is actually like an extension to the government. We act as an extension to the government for making permissions faster, making inspection faster, and making document storage faster, making things faster which are right now making construction slow.
Okay, so for now you're not tackling pollution directly, you're trying to make things faster for people. Is it like that?
So you actually the caveat here is, for example, because it's material science. Me and Varda are actually technological people, and we work in like drones and working in the space and technology. We're actually looking for a solution where someone can help us to figure out the part of solving the problem of pollution for construction. That's material science. We're not that much aware in material science, so we're trying to tackle it in a perspective where through our online platform we support companies who are already supporting. Pollution-free construction.
Okay, so you guys are currently in which year of your college?
I'm in my final year. Varda is done. She's done. She's right now working.
She's working. Okay, so is it like final year of masters, final year of bachelor's?
Final year of bachelor's, undergraduate. Mine.
Of what is your branch?
Computer science.
Computer science. Okay, so you're in final year. So is this like your final year project?
No, it's not.
No, so you're doing something else for your final year project?
Yeah, I'm doing something else.
Why didn't you pick this one? Like, do you think?
So I actually like doing varied stuff, first of all. So this was actually related to construction, and I had actually even got an interesting idea in my major project as well. That was using land use, land classification. I can actually combine the two: land use, land classification.
Land use, okay.
The professor wanted me to take it up, saying that I have done good work before in that, so he would like me to work in that, which is why I took it. So now the thing is that actually the interesting part is I can merge the two also. If I can merge my findings in land use, land classification, and in my construction project that I'm doing here, I can actually merge the findings together in the end.
In the end, okay. So what are your plans? Or Varada is already working, you said.
Varda is she's working individually. She passed her final year the previous year.
Okay, so is her background in construction or something?
No, not particularly. She's also same as me in computer science.
Computer science. Okay, great. So what is your plan after college? You want to go for a job? You want to go for higher studies? Or you want to set up like I know you don't want to set up from your previous conversations, but what is your plan after college?
Mine is higher studies. I'm interested in core research in computer science.
You're interested in research. Okay. So the whole part of this project that you are taking up, you want to build it to some viable stage and give it off to someone else. You're clear about that?
Yeah, that was the first in my first training session. That's what sir had said. He had said that you set a level and then you give it to someone who can handle it well.
Okay, great. So how much time are you contributing to this every day and then weekends? Are you able to contribute? Like, what is the time?
No, currently construction, no, I'm not able to contribute. Varda's not able to contribute. I'm being honest about it. I can actually lie to you.
Yes, please.
But I'm being honest about it.
Definitely be honest. Yeah, because
So Vardha is actually doing is busy in her work, and she's being allocated more and more work every day, and I am actually busy
Right.
in my final year stuff. We really
Right.
want to contribute to this, so actually we had a talk. We had a talk that we both will be together free somewhere around October, and we're going to do a little bit of work in that area, October and November, thoda sa kaam.
Okay.
And matlab what we will do is we will finish the technological part, not finish, or we will at least do some of the technological parts, since that's what we're expertise in. We're looking for some person to help us in material science, because that is what we don't know. That is what stuff we don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. Okay. So what we think is like, see, the problem statement is definitely there, so there is no doubt about that. But as far as the solution is concerned and your strengths are concerned, right? What you can build and what you want the other person to build, because there are like a lot of problem statements in construction and solving pollution in construction. There is like, as you said, detection. There is like speeding up of the whole process in construction, and there is like the materials which you can suggest for sustainable construction, then monitoring safety aspects of construction, and after they demolish also, like there is a lot of pollution and waste. So there are so many layers, right?
Exactly.
So which is the 1, 2, 3, like top 3 layers which you want to solve and which you actually can solve? Can you tell me that? Just 1, 2, maybe 1 or 2 is also enough. Top 2 problems
Air
in.
pollution, waste pollution, noise pollution. So drones will be used to basically figure out which places of the construction are having a large amount of pollution, air, waste, noise. And then so this will help in inspection. Then there is permissions. The reason why construction in our country takes so long is because of permissions. Because so like something that should take 2 years to build is taking 14 years, because construction people are themselves lazy and government also is being a bit lazy. So we act as a proxy who make your permissions faster. So that way you're building things faster, because infrastructure needed. One of the things that India is lacking is infrastructure, so it needs to be done faster. And then is document storage and planning. So basically, one of the problems in construction, people don't plan very well how you're building the building, and how you're building your entire area, and you don't handle your documents very well. If you have a single source of truth for document storage and for AI management using document storage, where if you have a 100-page document, I can summarize it into 2 pages, which is very, very necessary to save your time. That is what the whole goal is. These are the main 3 things.
Okay, so what I would suggest is, see, your strengths are in building softwares or building,
Yes.
computer science based, right? So for drones for pollution, this particular stage, and as far as I've seen, the industry, construction industry in itself is a very, how do I put it? They don't really give much importance to sustainability because it's a very fast-paced industry. Like they just construct, sell, go. There's no care about
Yeah.
unless very big corporate and have multiple like resorts or those kind of hospitality or those kind of service oriented sectors, then they give a lot of importance to sustainability. We have seen, because I worked with these companies to do their emission reports and all of that. And even there's called IGBC, where you get this sustainability ratings, and there's like lead ratings and all they give for buildings. Definitely you would have maybe searched about it.
IGBC number, okay, huh?
Right? Yeah, IGBC, LEED, all of these give ratings to the buildings if they are sustainable or not. Before construction itself, they will take one, they will submit the documents, and then they get this, then they give you like a 4-star, 5-star, all of this. So like ITC buildings are all very well, LEED certified buildings are very sustainable like that. So if you really want to understand sustainability from that aspect, you have to go through this particular standard, which is already set.
Okay.
Right? You are not going to go reinvent anything. If you want to build a sustainable building, this is the standard given by IGBC. There is standard. If you are building like a software to make it easy for them, that's what I've done the reports for them, right? It's a tedious process to do the reports. Everything, in most of them do it manually and all. So if that is the case and you are making this whole thing like, there are people working on softwares for this, for sustainable accounting and all of that. People are coming up with software so that we can estimate the carbon emissions, keep track of whole thing, and they will submit that to the IGBC.
Yeah.
Right? So that is the documentation part of it. So this whole process is having a standard. That's one thing. So when you use drones to sort of detect pollution, I think it's very far-fetched, and the realistic possible thing within your timeline and your ambition to sell it is not viable at the moment.
Correct.
So I would suggest to stop that, but your strength is to build a software, which I'm sure that you can do. You don't need a material person or anyone to build this kind of any software. or
Correct.
anything that makes it easier for the construction people.
Correct.
So if you are building a software to help this IGC process, for example, IGBC process, to make it easier for them to apply and get the certificate, there you can help them make it faster. Means many people will come forward to get the
Yeah.
certificate.
Yeah.
That is an easy thing. But when you talk about the permissions, as far as my state is concerned, even for our own house and all of that, it was like you have to pay under the table. All of this happens. So when you come in with the software, I don't think it's going to make sense there, because people know that they have to pay. This is how it works. Everyone knows you have to pay the local counselor, you have to pay the local. This is how it works here, right? So now putting a software to make this process, to digitize it, unless the government comes up with such a proposal, or the government is interested, you can only sell to the government this software, particular software.
Correct. Exactly. Acknowledge to the
Because the
government.
government only can come up. So selling it to government again within your timeline is again too far fetched.
Yeah.
Can do it, definitely can do. The software is a need. That is all the things I agree with you, right? But even in the post offices today, everything goes manually.
Yeah.
That is not you have to go stand in the line. Nobody uses anything digital as far as today is concerned. So if you build it, if the government will immediately buy this, we have to see the most forefront state in digitization and maybe try to convince them. You have to look at the states where, for example, Prime Minister is there in Gujarat, you try to push it. So they'll also get some advantage. Like that, you have to really go for marketing in that aspect, and it takes a lot. Even that itself, it takes its own number of years.
Right.
So we can't really guarantee that you will sell it and you will get some benefit out of it at this point of time.
Correct.
Right? However, if you produce like one particular software for managing this IGBC process, managing this sustainable reporting for construction, you can sell it to someone abroad also, because Europe especially is working on sustainability standards in a huge level. They come up with frameworks every like month or every day, even like changing so fast. So when you study those constructions and we study those procedures, you build one for India, you build one for some abroad, they'll definitely be interested to take out your software for whatever it's worth. You will get at least double of it for a basic sense point of view. That would help. And for as far as India is concerned, as you said, if they have like 10-20 sheets of design, 15 sheets of design, you are trying to summarize it, that software would really have a chance for the Indian market. If you are making things easier for construction companies or design companies, like if you put in these designs, this is what like, you will get the risk analysis, or you will get the like the software analyzes how strong the building is going to be, how that kind of thing. If you do, people are very interested now, because people put in so much into their houses. Even individual owners now they like to see 3D designs, 3D models, right, of their houses. Everything they want to see first before they build it, like the upcoming generation, I'm telling. So then there with the number of designs, or if you're helping that market and you're making it easy for the construction companies to give the clients different designs without having to go through so much, or you're summarizing and giving them a good analysis of, say, integrating solar, this much you can do, or this is the wastewater system you can follow, this is the recycling system that you can build in. There are a lot of greenhouses and all, so you can sort of suggest those things in this particular software. So these two softwares, if you go for the sustainability standard and helping to get that certificate easier, that process can be standardized. That's a good thing which you can sell India and sell abroad. The other thing is, if you can make a software to ease the process here for the Indian system, to ease the designing process, to ease the construction, or the pre-process towards the construction, that will make a lot of sense. They will actually go buy it, or they'll actually use it. I think these are the two things which are immediate to you, which you don't need expertise, other than yourself, or rather you can actually build something here around this space. So if you have any questions in this, you can ask now.
No, this is actually a good insight. I should need to work on this, correct? So what should I do next then?
Yes. So in these two, you choose one first, right? Within these two, do you want to go for the design? As you said, the document refining and summarizing part, and I want to give these kind of features to showcase, to promote for construction, like before construction, to get more clients, or for individual people who build houses. I want to do this, I want them to show this, whatever. Before the construction, if you're making it easier, if you're giving some software that makes it easier for the design process, for the documentation process, or the 3D process, if the software is already there and you're making it affordable, also great. If it's already there, but you have made it in a way that it's very simple to use, very affordable as well, right? Then the construction people will definitely take it. So even if it's already existing, all you have to do is make it in a affordable way. So if you think that immediately Indian market, we can hit it, we can sell it to a bigger construction chain of companies, they'll definitely take it. So here, just figure out if you want to make it very affordable, you want to make it for the premium market. So there are, if you are designing for B2B, that is like hotel designings, are you making it for B2B? Are you making it for B2C, like individual homes? People who construct for the individual homes, or people who construct for flats, multi-story buildings, or big offices and hotels. Which target you're doing? Because you can't do for both. Both have different markets. If it's B2B, you have to sell to construction people itself, who are building for bigger, like leasing or big offices, those kind of things. So figure out if you want to do this one. If it's for the Indian market, B2B or B2C, you just have to figure out that. Research on existing softwares which is already available. Definitely it will be there. What is their price point? And download or try to use it. Right? Even if it's a little bit subscription, just try to use it. Then you will know, okay, this is what they're charging, but I can make this simpler for them to use. Right? That is where the value will be there. So that is done. Then this side, when you take about IGBC, if you want to make a software for that, decide if it's India or if it's Europe, like abroad. Because the European standards are different, Indian standards are different.
Yeah.
So you have to go through that standard and you will design a software step by step. Like first step is to come up with the report. Second step, you submit this. Third step, you submit this. Finally, it will go directly to IGBC and they will process 28 days, you will get your certificate.
Yeah.
Like that. So these two paths are in front of you. You choose whichever is suitable. Within those 2 months, what can you build? For this, you don't need anybody. I'm sure you don't need any other expert except it's for you. You can actually sell this very easily. Even if you sell or not, you can give it to someone else who's already doing a software and take a partial share out of it from them. Let them do the marketing work. You take some small fee from it, one-time fee or a regular fee. If you build it successfully, that's what you can do. So you have to just do the market research and then maybe talk to companies who are using the software. So then they will know the pain points, right?
Right.
That is the most important thing. So this market research, if you focus on this month, whatever time you have, next 2 months to put it into action. That's all.
Makes sense.
Right? So I think this is the best path forward for you guys, with considering your future aspects and all of that as well. So based on this, next thing you can do is to decide your path and let us know. Then we'll figure out how we can connect you to those experts and you can start building that.
Makes sense.
Right? Is that clear now?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So can we go to the next team? You have any other questions?
This is awesome. This is a nice insight session. This is best out of all of them. You and I have a lot of knowledge.
Okay. Thank you so much. All the very best. You can focus on this.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yes. Where are you? Yes, I'm pinning you. Okay, Mahatiko. So can you tell me your problem and solution in one sentence, please?
Ma'am, actually, we are designing a smart gloves for autism spectrum disorder people, and it involves a gesture control system where one will be controlling, and the victim will be having the gloves, and the people who are suffering with autism will be having the gloves. We are coding the simulation with the help of an Arduino, so that we can connect to both the controlling gloves and the people having the assistive gloves. And we have an RF transmitter and receiver so that the signals can be converted from this gloves to that gloves. So it works based on that, ma'am.
Okay, Mahati. So you are in which year of your college now?
Pre-final year, ma'am. Third year.
Third year. Okay. So what about your teammates?
Ma'am, everyone is pre-final year student and we are working on it. We belong to same class and department.
Okay. All of you are computer science or AI? Which course?
Triple E, ma'am. Electrical and electronics.
Okay. Why did you choose this statement, Mahati? Why you guys chose this one?
Actually, we saw people suffering with this disease and they don't have any assistive devices. They have devices for checking the amount of oxygen intake and like that for monitoring they have, but they did not have any device for assisting, so that we prefer towards this.
So where did you see, you saw someone who has autism? Did you see them physically? You met them?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We were inspired by watching directly.
You actually saw them. Did you go visit someone or you saw someone on the way? Where did you see? Can you explain that incident? Where did you see the person?
Ma'am, actually, in my friend's house, we saw a kid. He was suffering from autism spectrum disorder. We actually monitored the whole situation. We thought that their parents or the health takers should have some assistive device so that it would be helpful for raising them up and for designing them and for
You spoke to the parent whose child has autism. Did you speak to the parents or
yes,
like
ma'am, we spoke.
what did you ask them? What did they speak to you?
They actually told that they find difficult to manage their day-to-day task and to take care of their kids. So it was very difficult because they want to pay special attention for those kids to make them grow up, and they also have some financial disability, some financial
Problems. Understood.
issues. So
Understood.
that they actually wanted to have some assistive device so that it would be helpful. So we
Okay.
thought of designing it.
So Mahati, I mean, the goal is to support the students or children with autism or elder people. You want to focus only on children or elder people, even adults.
Basically, children, ma'am, because they only find difficult to learn things. They actually need a lot of practice to do easy small work. So that we thought of providing this type of gloves to make them to do their regular task and course.
Okay, so when you talk about children, you know, children's attention span is very, very less, right? Even if it's
Yes,
whoever,
ma'am.
like, even if they're affected by autism, especially autism, their diversions and their tics, like, it's very, very high. They can't really keep control. That is the main problem. Okay, so
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have been, you know, in like very close with both children, teenagers, and adults with autism, right? I've like spent more time with them. So what I have understood is, see, they with the gloves, when you wear it all the time, definitely it's not going to be possible for them to wear it all the time,
Yes, ma'am.
right? For the children, especially children, and it's not possible. You just imagine, can you wear gloves all the time? It's not possible. Even when you say if they want to do some basic task, only that time they should wear gloves, means who will put the gloves on them? The parent should go and put the gloves. Anyway, the parent is interfering with the help. Again, it's coming to the parents. They are not becoming independent. So which is the exact problem that you're solving? Are you like, if you're trying to help the parent, you know, that the child can be independent, then who's going to put on the gloves? What if they take it out? You can't stitch it together with them in their clothes or something. You can't. They will pull it out, and there are a lot of like, when they get very hyper, the parents really suffer. I have literally seen it. When they get in that agitated state, it's very, very difficult for the parents to console. So that time, the clothes or anything itself, like even putting on their own clothes, right, that is the most difficult thing for autistic kids. Like, that's where one of the another I mean, student groups from Pondicherry, they were working on clothes which you can put easily, like velcro sort of clothes, which they can actually put, because when they become adults, the parents will feel little bit, I mean, the child also will feel little bit to still have the parent dress them up. So this is a real problem, like making some clothes which they can wear at least by themselves, because every day you have to wear clothes. At least
Yes.
that time it will be easy for them. So when you talk about what activity are you helping them to do, you want to help them brush. So for example, there is one spoon where, you know, for people with tremors, that spoon will not spill. You would have seen this video. Like, if
Yes, ma'am.
you have seen that spoon that doesn't even spill. And even babies, when they eat food, there's a cup which does not spill at all. So they are solving that problem, that when they eat, that hand tremor will not affect the particular product. So what is the particular problem that you're solving? You want to help them brush their teeth, you want to help them take bath, or do you want to help them to use the restroom? What is the thing that you're solving with this gesture control, with this hand control? Because the agitation, are you just monitoring the agitation, And how can you also think about them wearing it every day? So this is one question. Already one of the judges also, I think, gave you input, because wearing gloves is not easy. If someone is have lost their hand or lost their the any mobile motion, and then they're having a prosthetic which you can monitor, which you can help them to have sensors embedded to use their hands, that is completely different, because they don't even have a complete part. They are missing a complete part. So there they infuse all these sensors, and with that they will literally have no mobility. There it's fine. But when you talk about a child especially, who's having very low attention span, very very hyper and uncontrollable by the parent, will they wear gloves is the first question. So your thought is very good that you want to help them, but you have to think about another way to make it happen. Think of either a product which the child can easily use without without this sort of a extra thing that the parent has to go through. You have to think about little bit like that. And also, I would say, for autistic children, there are so many devices, like you said, right? A lot of devices are coming up. And what particular problem are you solving? Can you try to think on it and specify it, so that we can take it forward from there? The gloves concept, only the gloves is the thing that I'm telling you to be concerned about. The concept I'm not telling is wrong. I hope you understand the way you
Okay,
deliver
ma'am.
it, the delivery,
Ma'am.
right? Delivering that technology should do it in for example, there's this glucose pricking thing only we use, no glucometer, all of that. It was used to, now we have a patch, you can just stick it and it monitors it with its non-invasive. You understand? So
Yes,
that
ma'am.
problem is like you can't keep pricking blood, so it's non-invasive. You just attack, just like a sellotape thing. You just stick it, like that kind of thing we can do. The parents also will not have that difficulty. They can just stick the patch. It'll be small also, so they'll not notice much, maybe, right? Those
Yes, ma'am.
kind
Actually,
like
we have categorized the children based on their grade, ma'am, the level of autism they are having, so that some children are able to go to special schools for them. So, for particularly for that children, we are going to design a glove so that they will be able to write, because writing is a basic thing. They want to actually, in order to convey something, they want to write for a stranger or someone, so that we are giving that practice. As the controlling gloves will be in the teacher's hand, and when they all wear it, all the children will be connected to the RF receiver, will be connected to the RF transmitter, so that everyone at a time can make a practice of writing. Only for that special graded children, especially who are facing less autism, we are going to use these gloves, so that they will be able to make a practice and they can write properly, write or feed something like that, so that they will be able to do their normal day works.
Okay, so you are saying that they are facing a problem to hold a pen and write. Is that a problem you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. The autism children who are having less amount of autism spectrum disorder are not eligible to write with their own hands, so that they need some assistance. So that we are going to design a glove, so that once a teacher writes there in the board, the children will be able to write.
So you are going to have a control with the teacher, something you said. Can you explain that? Like what is the teacher controlling? Or is the gloves just like, what is the function of the gloves? Is it help them move the finger in one direction so they can write like A or something, like it will give them the direction, some vibration or something to move it like that? What is the actual application of the gloves?
Ma'am, it will just imitate the gloves, the teacher's hand like that, so that they can
Okay.
able to write. We are having a servo motor, so that it will control all the bending parts of our hands. That's our bones here, so that they can able to write as the same way the teacher writes. They will imitate the teacher.
Okay, so this cannot be like very long sentences, no? It's like ABC sort of thing, or is it like everything, whatever the sentence also teacher writes, that fast you can detect and then you can make the student write it?
Yes, ma'am. Simple, simple words. So
Simple
starting
words.
from words, if we give practice,
Okay.
some children will be able to learn. So that's our main motto, to make them learn a few little things to write
Okay.
a single word like that.
Right. Okay. So I get your point, but I think the area is very, very, very narrowed down, right? The whole market for you as a product is very, very narrowed down. And as far as the functionality is concerned, so you are not actually solving problem for general autism. It's very specific to children, very specific to children who actually can already, like, they are not affected too much, and who just want to learn simple words, like maybe in their fourth or fifth standard or second standard, like very, very high, not higher secondary, but like a primary school level. This is what your target is it right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I would suggest two things. Like, see, there are actually a lot of need for autistic adults as well, right? And for children, or generally autism to a higher spectrum, right? There, people are not coming up with many devices. Even if you make a device here, the way that you sell it, or if you start a company, then you have to go through CSR. You have to make them buy these devices, give it to the schools, government schools, or these special schools, then do it. So you cannot directly make a revenue. You can't expect like, if someone is having I mean, if someone is wealthy and still having a kid who's having autism, then they would buy it directly. So this is the whole mix that you have, and the market size is very, very low here. But what I would say is, this is perhaps a problem, but I am not sure still if it is a problem per se, because there are education systems and special schools who are that taking care of these kids. It is difficult, I'm not saying no, definitely, but if you do something to make them little independent, rather than again involving the teachers, it is like extra work for the teacher. Anyway, they are going to give special attention, but how is this making it easy for the teacher, and how will you impact and change a lot of lives, is like a question. So what I would say is, your thought is very good, the action and the plan you have is very good, but even the functionality of the product, like to mimic the same thing, the teacher will wear the same gloves, and the same response the student will also wear. Like, how are you going to deal with other disturbances if they just move or walk, or like, is the hand still going to be doing it? What if they move out from the place? Like, I am not able to see the picture, if how it will work and how they will mimic the same thing, right? So functionality wise, you will have a lot of challenges as well. So what you ideally have to do is, so is your plan to continue this for your final year project, or you want to go for a job after your final year? What's your plan? What's your plan for you and your team?
Actually, we are taking this as our final year project so that we can design. We will be. Our plan is to work and side by side to monitor this entrepreneurship and to develop. And we also have connection with NGOs and some rehabilitation centers so that we can sell our product to them.
Okay. So again, even if the NGO has to buy, they have to have funds from the CSR only. The NGO gets funds from corporates, from donations, like that. Then only they can also buy, right? Or somebody will donate directly to the NGO. This is what happens. So you have a good plan. You have thought things through. I appreciate it, and you're taking it as final project. That also I appreciate very much. The only thing I feel like you have to do immediately is, first we have to go and really stay with the children for at least 2 3 days or a week, right? And see their full behavior, see videos of autism kids, see the children's education. You are targeting especially education, autism kids with who have certain abilities, who are not very much affected by autism. There is a percentage, that only very less percentage, and they are in the primary school stage. This is your target, right? So in
Yes, ma'am.
this target, you observe the kids, observe bunch of kids, not one kid, but like a bunch of kids. Go to special schools. Have you gone to a special school before? Like, did you visit any special?
No, ma'am. My teammate has went and she only has done research about the autism children people, and
Okay,
I have not been doing.
how many people did you research?
Actually, I want to ask her, ma'am. She only told she only gathered the information, so I don't know
Yeah,
much about it.
so within the team, when you do things together and when you take a project like this, very sensitive, very serious project, you should really work together as a team with all the information always. Everyone should know all the information, right? As a team leader, you should ensure that you guys split your works. That's very good that you have given her one task, you have done one task, all of this, but then you should collectively sit and analyze everything.
Okay,
That is
ma'am.
very,
Yes.
very important. Okay. So at least minimum 50 people you have to see. That's what I would say. Minimum, very minimum this is. Because observing, not like you go interview them, I'm not saying that. But when you go to the spot, all of you go together because it's a team. When you come up with an idea, the team as a whole should go to the spot. Then only everybody will get one sense of what it is. Everyone will involve yourself in the product. See, at the end of the day, the customer satisfaction is what matters above everything. If you sell or not, like if some kid is wearing it, that he or she is happy, he or she is getting some basic education, and the parent is happy, then only your product is successful. Otherwise, it doesn't even need to exist. That is the main thing you should remember. Okay, we might think, okay, this is what autism kids needs. When you go there and see and observe in their point of view, should forget about yourself. You just have to live like them for some time and then live like their parents, what they're going through. Not only being sympathy, but also you have to have empathy. Empathy is like you actually go and feel their pain. That's what empathy means. Just having sympathy will not get a good kind of product. So just go first. First action that we will give you is, first of all, I also want to appreciate the problem statement and also that you're taking it as a final year project. So definitely we will support. Don't worry about it. Your problem statement and the idea is also very good. That also doesn't have any problem. All that you have to do now is to do your market research. Go to 50 people, observe, and then give us that data. What you observe. We'll give you some tips, like you have to observe their mannerism. You have to observe the way they talk. You have to observe the inputs, how the parents are going and helping, when and all the teacher is helping, when and all the parents are helping, how they are scribbling in their note, how often they just get distracted. Like this, you should have parameters and then go, not just going and sitting there, right?
Okay, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. We will do it.
Things you take, go to 5-6 special schools. Take your weekend time, go there, visit these people and observe. Then you come up with that report for us. Then we will sit and discuss what product will be more efficient, right? Then you start building the product. Okay. So
Okay, ma'am.
your target, everything is fine, but you do this market research and come back to us. I think then we will be able to have a good idea to help with your team. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We are clarified.
What an idea what I said? Like, are you able to
Yes,
understand?
ma'am. Yes.
Right. So sit with your team, explain what I've said to them. We also have a recording of this. We'll send it to you. Show this to them, team, and then go do the market research first. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Okay, Mathi. All the best. Yeah. We'll go to the next team. Web Warriors. Web Warriors.
Hello.
There.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes. So can you give me one statement, the problem and solution that you're solving currently? Just very, very direct, only one line you get.
Ma'am, if you want to sell your non-working or non-working and working electronics products, so you have only one or two options, that you have to exchange your product or you have to go to shop by shop and sell your products. So it will be a very hectic process. So we are trying to solve this process by we are build one online selling platform that helps take into assist user who want to sell their working and non-working electronics products by reducing time-taking process and gain valuable price. Unlike Kashify, which is our main competitor, currently we are building this model.
Okay, stop. So the thing is, you want to build a platform for individual people, just normal people, to sell their usable or non-usable electronic waste, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but so which year are you guys studying?
Fourth year, ma'am.
Fourth, the final year. Of which
Yes.
branch?
CSE, Computer Science and Engineering.
All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how much do you spend time on this idea every day and every weekend?
So, ma'am, basically, in our college, we are also incubation program having, and we are also part of that incubation program. So, basically, currently, we are spending 6 to 7 hours, most of in the college, to understand what is going on the market and what we have to search before making any product or making any service. And after attending hack for purpose session like domain session and tech session, we understand that what we are building before, that is not going to be work because that is not sustainable product, and we can't build a sustainable market in that. So we basically currently try to change our model, and tomorrow onward we are go to market research for the new model. So we basically try to understand what is the need of the market and what we are trying to build. Is the shopkeeper and user want to use our service or not? So we are on tomorrow onwards. We are trying.
Excellent. 1,000 points for you for coming up with this. You have made my work very easy. So very good, Shubh, that you have taken this step and you and your team. And you're already incubated. So you have not registered a company, just incubated there, correct?
Yes, basically, currently we are incubation having program. So we are currently part of that. After maybe 25th September, that can be possible that we are incubated after that.
Okay, cool. So what's your plan after college? You guys want to work? You want to start your own company? What's the plan?
So basically, two or three members are trying to focus on the startup only, and two or three two people are 50-50. That they are focusing on the entrepreneurship, and also they are finding for the search also job also.
Okay, so you guys are in your final. Now, this is your final year project as well, or you have taken some other project separately?
Yes, ma'am. This is our final year project.
Financial commitment with your family. You guys have to talk that as a team leader. You have to sit first and talk about what is the thing everyone wants. That's the most important thing. Forget about the idea, forget problem, everything. The life is the most important one compared to everything. So sit with your teammates, be very clear on what you want to do, right? If you want to go for job, let them go for job. Till they go for job, let them help you. It's completely fine. Nothing wrong. Okay, there is nothing wrong about it. Anyway, it will be valuable for them if they finish this project and they use it for their interviews as well. So nothing wrong about it because everyone has financial commitments for their family. A lot of things they have to do, right? So we cannot sit and interfere in all of that. Maybe after 2-3 years, then they will start company. So we don't want to do that. But as a leader, like you have to sit and talk with your team first. Like what do they really want to do in life? And if this is a job, if their family situation, you guys know each other, so you know what it takes. So just sit and do that first, right? Then once you are very clear, if you want to start a company or not, you let us know if you really want to start a company or not, because starting a company is different, building some product is completely different, right? If you just want to build a technology and maybe give it to someone else, that's completely different. But you want to sit and build a company, you want to take entrepreneurship, that's completely different, right? Unless you have your someone in your family who can support your family, support your parents, like if they're working, they're earning, you have the liberty to try entrepreneurship, means then only try entrepreneurship. Otherwise, don't try for now. You can do it always later after working for 1 or 2 years, then earning some, saving some, then you can try. Nothing is wrong about it, right? So first clarify the step, what you're going to take. Coming to the next part, so about your problem and solution, right? So with respect to e-waste is a very, very mafia sort of a industry, right? It's very, very mafia industry. And any kind of e-waste, like it's very difficult to source. The sourcing of the e-waste is very, very difficult because people, there are like very, very big, even politicians or a lot of these scrap dealers who come around your houses and collect the waste, right? Even near my house, every single day there is e-waste being collected. Every single day. In the evening, 6 o'clock, they roam around. Every single day, right? So this is how they do the scrap collectors. They collect, then they go and give to aggregators. Then they sell it to these bigger companies where they split it, separate it, and then recycle it different ways, right? So where are you fitting into this equation? Even for plastic waste, which is very well organized, to an extent, people don't throw the plastic, like go to an online site and then say that I have plastic waste, I have collected it, so much kgs for 1 month I've collected and I want to sell it. Nobody does that. It's very difficult to get people to do that because I've been on that side to sit with the companies to collect plastic waste directly from people. But that never works. Usually, when we throw the plastic waste to our garbage collectors, people sit and segregate from that. Then only they go. That's how it works, right? So this whole chain of e-waste, like people getting more money, as you said, you cannot really promise them more money because you have to also be competitive in the market. And if you have more, tons of waste collected only, then someone will buy it from you for a good value, right? So you can't just keep paying people more, and if you don't get profit, your company will not work.
So basically, ma'am, you are telling that we have collecting e-waste, and after that we have trying to recycle them. But our model is different. we are not using recycle model. We are using reuse model. In that, if you are a user, and there is a many shopkeeper in market, so if you trying to sell your product, it is working or non working, both the condition are satisfied, and the shopkeeper that are basically really want to buy your product and reuse the parts of it and getting benefit from it. So we are trying to solve that chain, because currently
I
okay, ma'am.
understand what you mean is called refurbishing in the industry, right? This is what I
Yes.
said. It's a very competitive market. This refurbishing, it's a cutthroat business, right? What they do is, like, if I'm giving my laptop, right? They go
Yeah.
check the laptop. There are some parameters they check. I have given my
Yeah.
personal laptop. I've done that, so I am telling you, right? I've given it. They check it. Then what they do? They change the hard disk. They change some parts which is not functioning. Just sell it second hand in Amazon itself directly, or they sell
Yes.
in bulk to other companies like some computer IT company. Second hand, they sell it. This is what happens already. This industry already exists for like years and years. This is called refurbishing. If you study, you will know. So more than the recycling and end of life solution, it is like end what Meher and all is doing with copper nanoparticles extract and all. This is for like nothing can be done to it. You have to destroy. No, that stage only recycling happens. Before that, 90% is for refurbishing only. That's what happens. Even we get, for example, we import, now it is banned, but people usually take electronics from abroad, because in US or these countries, more than 1 year, they don't use the same laptop or something. They have some rules for any electronic waste, even washing machine and everything they have a lifetime. After that, they don't use. If it's working or not, they don't use. So what people do, they buy that, they refurbish it, and then sell it here in India as second-hand models, or sell it to other third world countries or Vietnam, all of these things. This is what is happening in the industry, right? It's a very well, in a way, it's very well organized and very well sort of saturated. It's very difficult to source these materials for even existing players who are more than 10-15 years of experience, right? So if you are going to build something in e-waste, let's assume you have taken e-waste is the problem that you want to solve, right? So you have to look into what is the actual problem right now. So now there are some things called EPR in e-waste. Have you heard about it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you have to research on that, right? EPR is called Extended Producer Responsibility, where everybody who is a recycler, who is a refurbisher, should get a certificate saying that I am a certified, refurbisher, I'm a certified recycler. Then only the bigger corporates, like big IT companies, they have 1 lakh laptops. They want to give for recycling means, then only legally they can give it. Understood. So these kind of things are happening legally. So what you can do to build softwares to make this process easier, maybe, right?
Okay.
You can build platforms to make this whole EPR process easier, to maintain the complete EPR process with complete transparency. This waste is coming from Chennai. It is going to say down south somewhere, Coimbatore. It is going for recycling. They track the whole thing. Then this is completely dismantled in this way. This is the software to track the whole thing. If you give, then that will show the complete transparent thing. Okay, it is safely recycled and safely dismantled, right? So that kind of software you can look into. Maybe I'm giving suggestions. Okay, this is it's up to you what you want to do, but I'm giving you suggestions. So the next thing is like I was saying something. Yeah, when you want to target like customers like me, or like Gen Z millennial type of people who have electronic waste and they want to sort of sell it, then you have to do a lot of viral marketing. You have to sort of make it very like the promotion should be more, so that you will get high amount of material online. So many people have not cracked that online collection yet. Online collection of e-waste, many people have not cracked it yet. Also, if you are collecting it, say I am in Chennai, I go to your website and I say, like, let us assume you have done great marketing and you have come here to so I have come to your website and I want to sell. I have 2 old laptops, 2 phones I have. I'm going to sell it on your website, right? I'm coming here, okay? Because of the viral marketing you did, all of that, like this much money you can get, I'm coming and giving it to you. So then, if you are like, what is the process? You have to have logistics everywhere. Every state, you have to have people, or you have to tell them, "Hey, you have to courier this and send it to me." But I don't know if people will sit and courier their laptops to you. I'm not sure. Right? It's very easy. Someone comes and collects it, or something like that. So, what is the logistics? You have to think about that.
So, ma'am,
How are you?
you are telling about if I have to build logistic warehouses in all the cities, but we are not targeting that.
I know, I know.
So,
You want the seller to collect. You are just
yes, directly you sell your product to the shopkeeper,
yes,
and shopkeeper directly take your product from that.
right. So in this case, you are not even needed unless your work is only a website basically to connect these
Yes,
people.
ma'am.
But actually, there is no need because the collectors in themselves, they have very good distribution systems, collection systems to collect e-waste house wise, every house wise. It is there in India. In India, I'm talking about
Okay.
India. It is very well structured. Every single place has people who come road by road, street by street to collect e-waste, right? Even if you don't collect it, everywhere there are scrap, electronic waste, all of this available. So if my TV is not working, probably I'll give it to the TV person itself who will take it as scrap. This is what happens, and then they will sell it to the bigger aggregators, right? So
Okay.
the channel is already, the offline channel is very strong in this industry. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The offline channel is very, very strong. So if you want to break that and do online channel, either you have to make your own thing where you collect it, you then give it to someone else. Then only you can have that power. If you are just a connecting platform, like I go to your website and I have to, so for example, I go to website and say, I take photo of my laptop, I put it, I have this whole laptop. Then someone else is buying it, like a shopkeeper is there. They see the,
Yes.
they are sending their people to come and buy it means eventually, like, first of all, the shopkeeper won't come as per my opinion because they already have a good system of distribution. If you want to grow this as a business, how will you make money out of it? It's very difficult to come up at this stage. You have to, like, you have to take subscription, or you have to make the shopkeeper pay for subscription, but they would rather have some scrap person collecting road immediately in their city. They'll get it free. Like, they will not, it's not the ideal for them. That's what I feel personally. So, but I could
Okay,
also
ma'am.
be wrong, right? The point is that from e-waste, I have worked in e-waste for like 2-3 years. I have seen from battery recycling to chemical recycling to collecting the e-waste to refurbishing it, all industries. Some friends of mine are also working, as I told you. So they have a lot of struggles in getting material because everything people, like, already sell it off already. It's not available so much. They sell it like it's a very cutthroat market, as I told you. No, the prices are also too high, right? So for you to also make a platform and connect, it's going to be a little difficult. I would just suggest that there are a lot of problems in e-waste in the terms of recycling or getting value. There are some other problems that you can actually think. If you go real time to e-waste, how many recyclers did you talk to? How many refurbishers you spoke to? The e-waste generating industries, what they do? Have you spoken to these people, and how many people did you speak?
So basically, ma'am, our target customer is only user and our shopkeeper. That shopkeeper, how to take your product and how they currently take a part of that product and sell to other. So basically, on the old model, we spoke many shopkeepers, 10 to 15, and try to understand what they need from us. So basically, on the second model, we are trying to do market research on that tomorrow onwards.
So
So
what did the
basically, we are
shopkeepers tell
targeting
you?
shopkeeper.
What did the shopkeepers
Yeah.
tell you?
So basically, ma'am, currently you in Gujarat, you have a good laptop and non-working laptop. Okay. So basically, you have only one option to exchange the product from the online Amazon, Flipkart, etc. And if you want to sell your product, not an exchange, so you have to go to shopkeeper and shopkeeper. So it will basically a hectic process. So we understand that shopkeeper can't get too much business because of the online Amazon, Flipkart service. So basically, shopkeeper needs the business. So we are trying to give that business to the shopkeeper, and that are very useful from them, because they are taking useful parts from the non-working or working products, and then they are build second-hand products, and also they sell these parts to another they are using. So basically, shopkeeper needs more, because we are trying to make a subscription model or a uh, transaction based model, where the one transaction is happen, we get the money from the shopkeeper. So because the shopkeeper get more business, they are agree from our side that they can use our platform, and they can be our transaction based model customer.
Okay, so you want to favor the shopkeeper and get them more materials, right? And you want to have a platform where
Yes,
people
ma'am.
can, where people. It's okay. So if I'm having a product, so how do I post it? I have to come and take photos and post it in your website. Is it like that?
Yeah, you have a product like laptop, and the laptop is not working, so you have to put all the details, like what is the part of not working and what is the part of the device is old. Means you have a laptop from 3 years old, you have a laptop from 5 years old, so all the description, video photo, and all you have to go get the post on the website. And after a shopkeeper is interested, the shopkeeper giving you the estimate price, and after
So
that
first of
okay.
all, they will not be able to give the price without checking the laptop. That's a very important thing, which I've seen. They have to physically go check it. Laptops,
Yes, ma'am. So
electronics.
after you are giving an estimate price, so their person or our website person came to your home, check the product details understandly, and after that give the perfect price given to the shopkeeper. And if the shopkeeper is agree to buy your product, so directly the product is buy from you, and you have got money, and the our person or the shopkeeper person take the product from you, and the model working goes on. So this is our trying to do that, because we have trying to tell the shopkeeper what you need to sell your product or give the estimate price. So basically, currently we are targeting shopkeeper to shopkeeper and understand what is the need that they want from the online customer that are giving to you.
Okay, Shubh. So listen, as far as I understood your problem statement, but as a project to build this, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's wrong, but as a business, the approach should be very, very intense. If you really want to set up a company in this, then you have to talk to a lot of people in e-waste, then only go for it. But as a project, it's fine, where once you do your market research, you will get more clarity, and then you will figure out a way where, okay, today I take a photo and I post it in your website, and then somebody will come and check it, and then they will give the fair price, they will come, take and go, right? So this is what you're saying. Basically, I as a consumer, individual consumer, will put a photo, take it, and then post it in your site. Some shopkeeper will give interest and check it, and then they'll come physically review it and pay the price. Like you will transfer the amount in our account or something. The transaction will go through you, or they will do, like, there are so many things you have to figure out if you are doing it as a business, right?
Okay.
Like, are you going to keep payment gateway in your website? Are you going to give the transaction fee? Like, because after physical inspection only they can give. What if that shopkeeper takes tells that they will go inspect in their factory and takes it and goes off and doesn't pay? Then you are the responsibility for that. You should
Yes, ma'am.
pay. Even if they don't pay, you can't trust everybody, right? In a business, I'm telling you, it has a lot of pros and cons. A lot of cons in your case, because e-waste business is very cutthroat. Not in your, I'm not saying your, in the domain, there are a lot of cons. That's what I'm saying. So,
Okay.
first, as you said, go do your research with shopkeepers and with general people also. Don't ask students, ask people, who are students. Yeah, they use laptop, but even other working professionals, how often they change laptop, how often will you be able to get someone to post it, take photo, write description, and post it in your website? Like, you have to understand consumer mentality also, habit, how they will be.
Okay.
If they post only, you will be able to help shopkeeper. If there nobody
Yes.
wants to come to your website and do the posting, how you will help? If now Amazon is dominating, because everybody uses Amazon daily basis to buy any simple thing also. That level of competition can you attain with your marketing and all? Like, as a company, it's a very big thing to build. You need lot of funding, right? So is it worth it, and is it going to be revenue aspect of it? Like as a business, I think you have so much to figure out. But as a project, it's okay to start at this stage and see where it goes, right? As a business, this industry is very cutthroat. As a project, you can do, but first do around 10 to 20 people or working professionals about their laptop, like what do they do with their old laptop. Don't give them answers, just observe them. You ask questions, and whatever they answer, just take it. You don't make them answer like, will you do it if there's a website? Will you do it if like this, if there is a platform like this, it's good for environment? Don't convince them, just observe their behavior, because that day they will say they will do, but actually they will not do. That's what consumers are. You think every day, even if I am there, I have so much work to do. Will I sit and take photo of my laptop? For me personally, it's easier to just give it to the scrap guy near my house. As I walk to the shop to buy some milk or something, I'll just give it and go. That's all. It's very easy for me. That is easy. Immediately he will check, immediately he pays me. Again, going online, taking photo, writing description, this is, for me, it is not like, I won't do it personally. I won't do it, right? There like that many people will be there, so you should know the mentality. Who's your target audience? Will actually do this, take photo and do. See, other in other case, if it's a clothing where I want to give my old clothes, I will take photo and send it, because I have many clothes, right, which I don't want to use more than once. So then I will do for that. But that's what I'm saying, customer mindset. There are sites called Posh, I think, I don't know the name correctly, but where you can post your clothes, old clothes. You can buy it, right? Like that there are. So it works for different industries, but you should be sure about the customer mentality. So next, just go and do the research for your shopkeepers, as well as for the consumers. If you will go to the website, put photo of this, and do it. But as a company, lot of things to figure out. So do your preliminary research, then we will connect you with some experts in e-waste field. Then you will understand what I'm talking about, right? You should go do your research first. Building a platform is okay, it's fine completely, but the logistics, the revenue, all these are the major things that you have to focus on. If you want to do a startup, then definitely I'll connect you with the right people. So do your market research with shopkeepers and with consumers. Then you will submit a report to us. Minimum 50-70 people you do. Online, offline, we meet, whatever. Sit and do. Submit that report to us. Then we will plan ahead. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
You have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Or something you want to ask also is fine. You guys are spending good time, so I just want you to get the proper output. In this field, it's very like that. So that's why. Okay. So you do your research, you'll figure out you're on the right path only. Okay.
Okay.
Harshvardhan, you can go now. I mean, you can go ahead. So you can tell me your problem and solution in one sentence. Just one line.
My problem statement is to create a one-stop salivary-based solution to reduce the disease analysis time. So, my solution is to create a physical product which does this, which reduces the disease analysis time by taking the saliva of the patient and then giving it to my product, and it takes the intakes from the saliva and gives the possible symptoms of the disease that the patient has. This is what I want to achieve.
Okay.
And my project is in the idea stage, and as well as I have talked with some medical biology related persons, and I have taken some appointments with the doctors, and they are ready to help me with it. But I'm finding a little difficult to get the approvals from the higher officials. Like there is a lot of approvals, and the judges also told me that a patient cannot give you their saliva to you in general. They won't give you. It takes a lot of approvals to get that. That is what I'm finding difficult.
Okay, Harshvardhan. So, is this specific to one disease, or just based on their saliva, you want to detect any disease they have?
There are saliva-based diseases, saliva-based analysis systems for specific problems. But I want to give a general product which does everything.
Okay, basically like your blood sample or urine sample, you want to have a saliva sample for all testing, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, it's very, very ambitious to start off because you are like literally doing something extremely innovative here, right? So it's going to take a lot of resistance from people. Definitely, they will not at all support you, no matter who says they're supporting. It's very difficult. That is the first thing you should just keep in mind. But it's very innovative, so there is a way to go. Actually, if you would have attended the session with Dr. Vivek, right?
Yes, I did attend.
Yeah, so he is working on saliva-based device for TB analysis and HIV and one more thing. For corona also they did. So it's basically like a lollipop. You just have to your mouth and the saliva starts secreting. They'll have some flavoring inside, like lime or orange or something. So your saliva is secreting, right? And then the saliva is inside already. So if you go to the marker inside, and then you will sort of get the result. If it is one, they'll give it for the analysis. They take out the tube, submit it for analysis. This is what happens for the TB or for the HIV, all of this. So for a specific device, it's easy to do, Harshavardhan. At least you have some concept you can try. So, but for saliva, for a holistic diagnosis, to collect the sample, it's psychologically little difficult, right? How will they sort of, you are literally asking them to give a saliva sample and collect it and then sort of go and diagnose it. It's, if you have some other innovative method, like, you give them this lollipop, just collect that saliva in the tube, then it's little easier to collect, I would say. The collection method needs to be little innovative. Then we can, like, instead of them asking them to spit it out in a container or something, right? Like if you make it like this lollipop, like how Vivek did, we can conduct one session with you for Vivek also. We'll try to arrange that. Okay. So that case, like he also faced a lot of resistance. Still, they are not approved yet. Like now only it's fast paced to get the approval. It's more than 4 or 5 years they are working on this. This is also from Singapore. Even then, like the government, like it takes time to get approval, medical approval, right? So after this, the saliva sample, what are the testing that you have figured out? Like what instruments are you using to test this saliva? Have you figured that out?
No, not yet. My professor, a professor in my college has done the similar kind of project. He has used the spectrum method to analyze the
IR spectrum or UV spectrum. Which spectrum?
IR spectrum, I guess so.
IR
he didn't mention that properly. He's also currently working under that. But
so IR spectrum is not very accurate, especially for disease point of view. You really have to, think about that. If it's only IR, you ask them if it's only IR or it's like a range of spectrum, because there's mass spectrometer also, which is more accurate and all. So there are a lot of different types of spectrometers and stuff. So it depends on which one you are going to use, right? And
but the problem is, I don't want to use spectrum to analyze. I want to use the biomarkers that the disease already has. Biomarkers the disease already has. Take that biomarkers. I will give the data sets that the already disease has. Like if the product shows that you might have this disease.
Got it.
So the patient will be peaceful that they have this disease, so they can go to the doctor and fix the disease as cure the disease as fast as possible.
Okay, makes sense. So this is, which year are you currently in?
I'm in my second year.
You're in second year. Which department?
ECE, Electronics and Communication.
ECE. So what about your teammate? Do you get support from your teammate?
Yes, I do. She's also she's also in the same department and same year. But I want people from other departments, like other other departments like biology based.
Biotechnology. Yours is fully biotechnology, basically.
Yes, exactly. And I also want a person from mechanical department, because I want to create a product, because they know the the type of material that should be used. It should be feasible. That is what I want.
Basically, biotech itself, they will know. Biomedicine, basically, biomedicine will know about devices and all. Mechanical, not necessarily needed. But yeah, biotech or biomedicine will really help you out. So you plan to take this further as a startup or as your final year project? What is your interest for you and your teammate?
I want to create a solution and what do you say, sell it. That is what I
Sell
want.
it.
My aim is to go for higher studies. I want money.
Okay.
Money is the only
You want
problem.
money?
So
excellent.
I don't want to ask my parents about the money. So I want to create a product, give it, sell it, and then use that money for my higher studies.
Very good. Okay, I got. What about your teammate? Does she want to also do higher studies?
She is with me. She also wants to pursue higher studies with me.
Okay,
that's all.
Also, okay. He or she? It is he or she. He. Okay. So they are also into higher studies. Okay, good, perfect. So let's do this. So I'm getting a clear idea about this one. For this saliva-based markers, right? What you have to do is first, as I told you, the device, the packaging of this device, right? See, exactly, is there a need for this? Means actually there is no need as such for this, but the innovation is it is making things easier. Instead of taking a blood sample, it's making it easier to just give you a saliva sample.
Yes,
that's what
exactly. Rather than using so much of syringes and using that, the patient can simply give their saliva and get the disease that they have, the symptoms of the disease that they have.
Yes. So here, what we have to do is ideally first what you do, pick four major diseases in India. Major, like what people test, like sugar, right? Like major, what people are prone to get diseases, very highly prone to get diseases. Because the same thing what Vivek did also was to focus on TB, focus on HIV, all these, like only these corona, these three only, and they built same concept. The concept was the lollipop. Then they changed the markers for the HIV, markers for corona, markers for TB. That's the markers inside only will change, but the system is the same system. For children, they'll make it little flavored. For the adults, they don't need much flavor. Like that, from a product, you should first think a little bit, right? So how innovatively you can collect the saliva. This lollipop method is a very good method for you also. So you can make them chew it. So the saliva will get automatically collected into the small container. It's like a test tube sort of thing. That's all. Simply imagine lollipop. Then there is a marker below that collection tube. It passes through that, and then it gets collected at the bottom. So then they remove that part alone and go give it to the analysis. This is what they do, right? So what you can also do is you can just sort of keep the same concept, but again there, more than the saliva, it's also about the gums. You have to get them to chew well, because the gum markers are there. There are some, it's not only just saliva. From the gum area only you have certain enzymes or certain things that are produced which can give you that. Yeah, exactly. So it's not only that saliva that you secrete because of the craving you have or something. Basically, it is the key is in the gum. If you study little more, you will get it. There are the more amount of enzymes and markers, right? So they have to actually chew well for you to detect it well. Right? So this is what I have studied from Vivek's thesis also, and this is available online. His reports are all available. You can go through it, right? So what you would have to do as a first step is, first thing, the way that you are going to collect the saliva, you have to design some innovative method how you are going to collect the saliva, right? Immediately you can't give the result. It's not like the color will change red or green. You can't do that, right? It's not that specific. So we are going to collect it in the most efficient way. What if they have some other dirt or something? So some filter should be there in the mouth. Only the enzymes should come to you at the bottom, right? So some filter you have and the collection you have. That collection the collected sample, filtered pure sample, remove it, and then you take it for your analysis. This is what you can do. Then you run it through whatever analysis it is, or whatever you have as a marker. Check if the marker is available. You do that. There's a method I forgot for this. We do not enzyme assay, bioassay, something is called, because we are biotech.
Okay, I don't know that because I'm a computer science student from
that's why I'm telling you. There's a enzymatic assay, bioassay sort of thing. you can run it in the calorimeter and it will give you a color. If there is that marker, it will give you sort of. So that running you have to do same way. That's what you have to do. So basically, you have to figure out the method of collecting the good amount of saliva which is generating from the gum level and which has the rich markers that you want. It's not chuma spitting. It will not work.
I don't want to take the samples from the patient and test it in a lab. I want to test it there itself, at their homes and at their.
That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
To one extent, you cannot do it because it's not like a color changing thing. It's not immediately, and because biomarkers don't work that way. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Immediately, color changing you will not get in biomarkers. If you have to do it through, like for that only they prepare kits. Otherwise, you have to prepare kit. There is a 3-step, 4-step proper process. If I want to do your kit, for example, I'm buying your saliva kit means I will order it. You will give me all the components. You will give me like same like your pregnancy kit, right? How are they doing the pregnancy test? You are putting the urine sample means there is the strip inside embedded with the biomarker. That biomarker goes through. Then if it's a single line, it is a single line means not pregnant. I think single line means it's not. But if it has the biomarker, it will come to the other line also and it will give the color. That color dye will come out. So inside that thin, the strip, there is the dye, there is the marker, there is the enzyme, everything embedded inside. So when you put the drop of sample, it gives you that color, 2 lines. So that is inside that small plastic device, which you see you have seen no pregnancy test, you at least should have heard.
Yes.
Same way glucometer, the blood, when you put, it shows the level because it has the sensors backside. So that is a complete device. It's like a device. Okay. Do you want to make a device to like a pregnancy kit you want to test means it is not going to work for all diseases because every marker is different. Everything has its own. So if you want to do only one, then you have to make a kit for it. You have to make like a kit. You first take and chew the take the saliva, then take that tube and put it into this where you will see the color or marker change. Like that, you have to develop your device.
I'm getting the point. On the previous medtech sessions, one of the the person the guest said that you can use the thermometer by getting the I forgot his name. Sorry, he said that use thermometers. Rather than taking the saliva samples, you can use the thermometer and take the saliva or something. He mentioned that I totally forgot.
We have the recording. Don't worry, we'll send it. You just review it again and let me know. Right? Because there are two medtech. Which one you're telling? AI medtech or the normal medtech? I'm not sure. So 2 medtech.
AI medtech.
AI medtech. Okay. Hitesh, his name is. I'll check that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He mentioned to use thermometers rather than getting the saliva in a container.
Okay. So thermometer for what? Getting saliva.
Getting the inputs from the patient.
Inputs from the patient. Okay. So again, same thing. Even pregnancy thing is like that only. Same like thermometer. It will be only this much. Right? See, that has evolved so much, right? For the whole field of this testing, like how you can test with kits like that. If you want to make something, you have to think about that strip that you have to prepare. That's basically what they call chromatography, that technique, where they embed and then slowly the molecules go through. And once they hit, say for example, it's like when you are standing here and your friend is standing here. When you see your friend, you go and meet and then you interact, like you feel happy or you smile and react, right? Same way, this molecule will be here in the saliva. This molecule will be waiting here. If they both are matching, they'll come and lock. And then the color will change. Like that, you have to make a system for the disease. That's called a kit, basically. So you have to work on making one device for getting the saliva, then detecting what disease. You can do only one. In one strip, you can do only one. The same pregnancy kit, you can't do 10 different diseases. Different kits for different diseases. If you want to do kits means people have to order and buy the kits. From a business point of view, it is little difficult. But if it's in the lab, it's easy because people mindset is that if it's in the lab, it's more authentic and all. Now, if it's a very HIV sort of test means people want to do in their home. Pregnancy means people want to do in their home. So they will buy. You understand? Psychological.
So if I take the input, I can use the input only once.
Not only one. So if you, for example, you have one saliva kit, you have like 1 ml, 2 ml you're getting, means if they want to test 4 diseases, you make 4 strips. Each one they can pour little and then test it.
No, ma'am. What I want to do is the product takes the biomarkers and then compares it with the data set that I have given. Like it transfers the biomarkers data from the product to the servers. It checks the what do you say? If the biomarker is equal to the biomarkers of the disease, if that matches, my product displays the name of the disease that they have.
Okay, you want to make it like a hardware, means that's different.
Yes, exactly.
Sensors, then you need sensor, and that won't work for biomarkers. Biomarker system, it doesn't work like that. It's not like, see, your ECE mindset is coming more than the biotech mindset. Biologically, it doesn't work like that. Biomarkers don't work like that. That's why you have to think from this perspective. As I told you, pregnancy kit or strips or these glucometers, think like that. See, glucometer is immediately patch or anything, they sweat or the blood, they detect some particular particles there because they are more in abundance, and anyway they go to the source. But when you talk about saliva, already it's very less, the marker that you're talking about. It's not blood, or it's not like the plasma. It's not certain diseases you have to definitely use plasma. You can't, they will take blood and filter and take plasma from it, then they will test it. So in bio point of view, bio aspect, this color changing mechanism works very well from the strip. Same like your pregnancy test, as I told you, that works. But if you are talking about a device where you give the signal from the saliva, what you can do is internally you can have a strip with some monitoring system where, okay, if the color changes, you can indicate outside. That's what you can do. What is your device going to indicate? If they have HIV or not, if they have diabetes or not, yes or no only. No, the option will be like that. It's not going to say that your sugar is 95%, or you can't say that accurately unless it's a specific device for that, right? You are going to just generally give them yes or no, if you have malaria or not, if you have thyroid or not, like that only you can give for kids. It's a preliminary device. Yes, it's only pre-screening, preliminary. You are not anyway, you have to go to doctor and then only get treatment. You are just
the end should be to visit the doctor. The first step is to, like, rather than consulting and giving them 1,000 rupees or 1,500 just for consulting, I'm going to give that product so that they know that they have this disease.
Yes. So that if that is your aim, then what is the thing in the market? Clearly, I'm telling you, you have to make one whatever lollipop, whatever, to get the saliva. Pure saliva should be collected in the bottom. Then if you are going to make a homemade kit only in that case, because you don't want them to, you want to make a homemade test kit. So for example, I want to check if I have sugar, whatever, something, let us assume, I'm just saying. So I take that saliva, put it in 4 strips will be there for 4 diseases. Imagine that same thermometer size or pregnancy kit size, this much only. I pour it with the dropper, I pour that saliva, then it will change. If it is single line, yes. If it is single line means no, double line means yes. That means that there is chance of disease. That's all you can say. This is the pre-screening methodology. This is what you should develop as a product.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, if not, if you don't want to do this, the other thing what Vivek is doing is, you just have to collect the sample and then, they'll give a preliminary thing that you should do, because the sample should be in viable state. No, what if the cells are like the markers don't work or something? So what they'll do, they'll ask you to mix it with something else and package it and send it to the nearby lab. They'll give you the lab address. You have to courier it there.
But that takes a lot of time to get the result right, ma'am.
No, again, see, depends on what you want to do, because some tests you definitely need to go to lab. Some tests.
Yes.
It depends on the marker. What if you don't have marker for your disease in the saliva? Means you can't do anything. Not all markers are present in the saliva. Not all markers. Right? So then that case, you can only give that for them to test. They will add more enzyme and then try to test it. Like that's something you should do. So first thing, identify what all markers saliva has, gum tissues have. Then identify the disease for it. Choose 2 to 4 diseases. That's all. Maximum. Then you choose the mechanism how to collect the saliva. Like make a small tube, test tube sort of thing. Spit it, the filter will come, collect the saliva. Then saliva should go to these markers in strips. 4 strips you will prepare for 4 disease. What should go inside? This and all biotech or biomedical student only can help you here.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
ECE has nothing to do with this, actually speaking. This is a complete biotechnology product. Completely biomedical biotechnology. ECE, it's not a device. Again, that is the thing. It's a kit. It's a kit that you're developing. Right? So it's a multi-disease means it's a kit. So you need biotech only. Nothing to do with ECE, actually.
Okay, ma'am.
So think about all of this. As I said, think about what disease, what are the saliva biomarkers. You ask some biotechnology student to work with you to identify markers and give. You don't need to go to doctor, hospital, approval. Nothing you need. Honestly, I'm saying. If you convince your friend itself to use the lollipop and give the sample, that is a very big thing. So you don't go any. Then we have to see if it works. But ultimately, I'm telling you, if you do like 100 to 200, maybe 300 people to test this product and show for 4 diseases that yes or no works, then only we can send it to some bigger biotech company, so they'll get approval and they'll do it. So now is a good time to start because you're in second year. So 3 years you have to dedicate like crazy. You have to dedicate for this product. Then definitely 4th year you can sell it. Definitely.
Sure, ma'am. Done.
Right, but
suggestion would be, since they are ECE, they can do like digital device. Then it will be like not like a very small.
Yeah, but he doesn't want. That's what I asked him. But he wants to do like multiple disease detection and at home, not to lab or not to any other. So if you want a digital meter, means you have to see that the biomarker is very high. So digital will give some number.
Only then it will be.
Yeah, then he has to tell the range of that number, like 50. That now he has to establish, which he needs a lot of only one you can do in that way. Only one you can do.
Like as
so if you're okay,
this is not like related to them for ECE, completely related to biomed or biotech only.
If you find out something which is having, this like a glucometer, how it works and how that markers work, if it is same present, then
like or else what they can do now, they can do, as you said, like smaller device, a handy device which a patient can use, and further if they want to diagnose, like they can give something for the hospital, then they can further work on that will be related
so
to
you have to. So you have to figure out, you want to make a device, means it should go to lab or it should go to hospital only, Harshavardhan. No other way. But if you want the consumer to instantly get it, means you have to do kit. That's called kit only. Yeah. So you have to think about these things, right? So, but keep in mind that the first thing is the research. Once you do the research and find some markers, you can read papers online. Okay, it's not very difficult. Only biotech can help you. Nothing like that. Google Scholar has lot of papers. Just read abstract alone itself, you will get idea. No need to read the full paper also. You can understand. It's very straightforward. And YouTube is there. It's not like you cannot do anything. Nothing like that. Right? Definitely you can do. Just take some help of some other students also. It will be good for you. That's all.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay. You have any other questions before we go to the next thing? No.
Yes.
Okay. So you will work on this concept, the markers, identify diseases. Right, and
find the feasible diseases that can be used with the biomarkers, and then take a list of them, and then I'll send you.
Saliva, mainly saliva, biomarkers, the gum, amount of doing all of this. Study Vivek's papers. You will be very, very helpful for you. Right? Then you give it to us. Then we will plan next step. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.